Well, hello, everybody. Welcome from Beijing, China. It is late on Tuesday local time, just getting wrapped up with our day's activities, and we thought we'd give you a recap of what happened during our NAFB in China tour. And joining us is Greg Krissek, the CEO of Kansas Corn. Kansas Corn presenting these video reports, and also sponsored by the Kansas Soybean Commission and Kansas Farm Bureau. Busy day, Greg, and got to see something, or a couple of perspectives that we normally don't see in the United States. We saw a rather large layer farm out there and a crocodile farm as well.
That's right. We went northeast of Beijing this morning, and CP Foods has a 3 million hen layer operation, that very integrated with a feed mill, 180,000 ton per year capacity. So we were able to see very in-depth tours of their layout of a building and of the hen laying building and the process, both with robots that service the facilities, and then ultimately walk through where the eggs are collected and where some of even the processing of the eggs start to begin. And as you mentioned, not what we would probably find in Kansas, but also adjacent is a crocodile breeding facility that is integrated into the operation as well.
Because we were asking, what are they fed? And they are fed some of the hens that are there, but it's the younger hens, the ones who aren't producing the eggs. I think 17-month range, I think they said.
Right. They're not, when they have hens that aren't gaining weight to become productive in the laying operation, then they call them spent hens, or they're not up to par, and they're going to be used in the crocodile operation. So very interesting, but very elaborate, high tech operation.
Speaking of high tech, Tuesday afternoon we then went to Syngenta's facility, their gene editing facility, in a building in a high-tech park, I guess you could call it, that their building there is just 10 years old this year.
Right, another suburb of Beijing, and we're provided an overview of the technology approach that Syngenta uses really around the world first, and the different facilities that they have both in the United States and then here in China and in other countries as well. And then really focused in on what they began doing here, especially in about the last, I think, 2 to 3 years at this innovation facility focused on gene editing, and also happens to be, I think, one of their centers for vegetable seed development.
I also find ironic that a lot of what they're doing is in the future with GMOs and CRISPR technology, but yet you see China not exactly welcoming of that type of technology. Some are, but the majority aren't.
It'll be interesting to see as the future unfolds here in China. First of all, largest population currently of a country in the world, and wanting to feed and stay self-sufficient in feeding their population, and how they will proceed with this in this country right here as they do the work will be very fascinating.
We should note that Syngenta built this facility before their takeover by ChemChina, so they had already invested, that being Syngenta, very heavily into that technology and into that structure there in Beijing.
Right. They were. It appears from what we were told today, they were making that commitment and prepared to have this facility be one of their prime facilities before that entire consolidation happened.
Greg Krissek is joining us. He is the CEO of Kansas Corn as we are wrapping up the Tuesday festivities here in Beijing. And then you cannot leave Beijing without having a Peking duck dinner, which is what we just came back from.
Right. Different than anything I'd ever experienced, but can say we did. Had Peking duck for dinner.
The group will be headed to the Forbidden City, which is also one of the great things to visit while in Beijing, on Wednesday morning. And then we head out to Xi'an, and we'll be in Xi'an for the next couple of days. And we'll update you later in the week as to our activities there. Greg, I appreciate it. Thanks.
All right. You bet, Greg.
That is Greg Krissek, the CEO of Kansas Corn. Kansas Corn presenting you these video reports. And you can also hear more about our activities here on WIBW Radio. the Kansas Agriculture Network, and of course, KansasAgNetwork.com, and on our Facebook page as well. Just type in Kansas Ag Network. That wraps up our Tuesday activities from Beijing, China. For Greg, I'm Greg Akagi. Thank you for joining us.